massacre of Palestinians in Gaza didn't happen last year. Didn't even happen 4 or 5 years ago when they killed hundreds of children with their bombs. It happened in 1956. In 1956, they massacred 200 civilians. Do you know about it? You've never heard of it. Of course you haven't heard of it. That's why you can call them animals. Otherwise, you'd see them like human beings like the rest of us. That place where we call other people animals, if you want to live there, that's your choice. I don't want to live there.
Here is Dana Fash saying some unhinged ass bullshit about the fucking neo-Nazi demonstrations that took place in Columbus, Ohio the other day.
Talk about something that happened over the weekend, not in your district, in Columbus. A group of neo-Nazis paraded through that city wearing, waving swastikas, covering their faces. This is not the first time this sort of thing has happened in Ohio in particular, and of course it's continuing to spread. We don't know what side of the aisle this comes from. I mean,
yeah, you don't really? You don't know? You don't know which side of the aisle this comes from? Are you out of your dang mind? Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, how can you say that? In all honesty, like, how can you fucking say that? CNN has lost their dang minds, dude. What a fucking crock of nonsense. What a crock of shit.
Typically, neo-Nazis are for the far right.
Yeah.
You had protests from the far left at your house.
Correct.
As a Jewish member.
Yeah. Yeah, they slept outside my house for days. You know, my takeaway is this has got to stop. And the surge of anti-Semitism is global, but it's certainly here in the United States. And
like, imagine staring down the barrel of American fascism and just being like, let me use this as an opportunity to fucking shit on pro-Palestinian demonstrators, many of which are Jewish themselves, by the way, but we're going to conveniently ignore that fucking reality. You know? Psychos. They don't give a shit about anything. This is why liberals engage in water carrying for the Trump administration on a regular basis, because Trump can do all of the mean and violent things that they too desire, but they can't openly state. Okay? It's great. You can maintain your moral high ground aesthetically while simultaneously basically fucking, you know, agreeing with a lot of the shit that Trump is doing. That's it. I know Dr. Oz is in charge of Medicare and Medicaid, chat. I know.
And it does require leaders on both sides of the aisle to say, don't do that.
Trying to confront the right on Twitter on this, and the base of the argument is they're feds because, trust me, bro. I mean, dude, do they have federal agents in neo-Nazi movements? Abso-fucking-lutely. What do you think, that doesn't exist? No. Some are ideologically there, and others are there to infiltrate and intercept and maybe use them as a tool whenever they see fit. I do agree with that statement. Having said that, however, these neo-Nazi movements suspiciously become infinitely more prominent and infinitely more galvanized when Donald Trump becomes president. How the fuck did that happen? Yeah, being feds are their day job. Yeah. There is an undercurrent of resilient fascist sentiment in this country. And the more that kind of sentiment is normalized at the top of the leadership, the more these people feel comfortable openly demonstrating. That's it. It's that simple. It's not that fucking crazy. Do I believe that there are feds involved in the process? Fuck yes, I do. Okay? Of course. Of course. But that does not change the reality that this is, you know, a resilient, never examined neo-Nazi movement that very much exists in this country. Has never really gone away.
Is your party doing that enough?
I think some in my party are doing a ton, and some are silent.
Yeah. Growing fascism and using equating them to preposter. Entirely. I was wrong. There's a bald man HasanAbi resents. Absolutely. Staring down the barrel of growing fascism in this country and using it as an opportunity to bash anti-genocide protests by equating them to neo-Nazis is preposterous. These people feel entirely too comfortable with this new admin. Yeah. Even worse, Dana Fash moment. Yeah. You came to a place of Jewish worship, stood on the bima near the Holy Torah scroll, and pretended to be
about something that
congregants. You have no shame, no decency, no clue what you're talking about. Code Pink says, Code Pink, by the way, is led by Medea Benjamin, a tiny Jewish lady who I love and have deep admiration for. Okay. And, you know, many of the Code Pink activists are like elderly Jewish folk, for the record. So just so you understand, like these people have been invested in the no war movement for a very long time. But let's see what happened here.
Hi, my name is Grace Holzman. I'm a member of this community, and I want to tell you that I'm really upset at what I perceive to be the conflation of anti-Semitism. This is not true, and that is very anti-Semitic and very dangerous to our Jewish community and our Jewish values. When you do that.
Yeah, this is like every Code Pink activist, by the way. Just so you understand, like virtually every Code Pink activist is like a 65-year-old tiny Jewish lady. Okay, I have endless respect for them. Everybody always talks about how like you know, they're backed by the Russians or whatever the fuck. They are some of the sweetest people. Okay. And they're fantastic. They're great. They've been at this game for a very, very long time as well.
That I just don't know if you understand that you are being a mouthpiece for the genocide in Gaza. That is wrong. Genocide is the most anti-Semitic thing out there. This woman is 90 years old. She's a Holocaust survivor. She stands outside the White House every single day because she lost people in the Holocaust, and she's aware that what is going on now is a Holocaust. Do you have an answer for me? I'd really like to know.
Okay. I'm not here to debate. I will just say one thing. Being anti-Israel, anti-Israeli government is not anti-Semitic.
Okay. Well, that's what the protests are about on campus.
No.
And you cited them several times. I have been to those protests.
Have you been to the ones at my house where they called me Zionist trash and called?
Yo, dude, come on, dude, come on. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying, dude? It's so funny. Oh my God. Everything is so no self-reflection whatsoever. Okay? No self-reflection whatsoever. No reason. Yeah, I'm the real victim in this situation. My feelings were hurt because people said I was a Zionist. Now, I have to be very careful because I don't want to get banned. Okay? Twitch's official position is that saying someone is Zionist trash is a bannable offense. I disavow this statement, as I am a loyal soldier for Twitch, and I do not want to get banned so I can continue being an outward critic of the Israeli state and the things that the Israeli state does. Okay? You should not say it in the chat either. You will get reported. But the reality of the matter is, Dana Fash is a fascist. That's it. Zionism is a fascist ideology. Dana is not Jewish. Wait, why is she at a synagogue? I mean, it doesn't matter if she's Jewish or not, regardless. But I think she is. But that plays no role in this. Okay? Haas, you are so cooked. Why am I cooked? What? I'm not saying anything. Yeah. You laughing has been clipped and shipped already, I'm afraid. Okay, whatever. Everybody calm down. Listen to me. I think Dana Fash is Jewish, but her background, her religious background, her ethnic background plays no role in this calculation. Okay? It does not. You just called it fascism? What? Would you enjoy pro-Israel people yelling at you every night outside your house? I don't think that's appropriate or helpful. You just called it fascism. Brother, first of all, it is. Okay? What are you saying? It literally is. It is an ethno-supremacist, ethno-religious supremacist ideology that is built around the forceful expulsion of the outgroup. That is fascism to a T. Okay? You might not agree with that, but it is the reality. Okay? I don't know if you covered this yet, but the New York Times killed an investigation into Israeli hooliganism story seeking to disprove the initial reporting. They accidentally, yeah, I saw. They accidentally reported the internal emails. They forwarded to an electronic intifada reporter. I saw that. Yeah, we covered it yesterday. It was very funny. I mean, it's not very funny that they just straight up fucking dunked on it. But straight up yeeted the story into orbit. Okay. Dana Bash is complicit and a propagandist, a mouthpiece for American-backed genocide in Gaza that Israel is conducting. That is the truth. Okay? Criticizing that and you know, protesting that is understandable. There is a difference between good things and bad things. Also, when people go, oh, how would you like it if pro-Israeli people were outside your house yelling at you all the time? Brother, pro-Israeli people and institutions, organizations that are pro-Israel are literally for the past month now trying to get me banned off this fucking platform. What are you saying? Oh man, what would I ever do? What would I ever do if pro-Israeli people would actively try to stop me from criticizing Israel? I wonder what that would look like. These people do this because they're powerless. People do this because they are fucking powerless, because they know CNN is never going to fire Dana Bash for being pro-Israel. Okay? I just described to you that, you know, Zionist is no longer an appropriate term that is allowed on this fucking platform. How do you think that happened? Let's continue.
For the Intifada against me.
Okay. I'm not going to single out the extremists. You talked about the protests on campus.
Those are
Those
extremists.
are not anti-Semitic.
There are many genuine pro-Palestinian protests.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
What I am talking about are when people say from the river to the sea, they want to do away.
Yeah. The real problem here is saying that Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. That's the real issue. Not the hundreds of thousands, not the millions displaced, hundreds of thousands, every single fucking school bombed, every single fucking hospital bombed with American weapons, by the way, with unlimited support for Israel to do so. That's not a real issue. The real issue is how my feelings. The real issue is my feelings, okay? And how scary it is when people say emancipatory slogans about Palestinians. That is what's scary, and that is anti-Semitic. Shut the fuck up. Just melting children on a daily fucking basis. Like, how unimaginably narcissistic, self-involved, ridiculous. How ridiculous, dude. Wow, people are against my position, as I have routinely stated and compared college campus protesters to neo-Nazis in the United States of America, as I'm going to continue doing over and over again. Dana Bash also personally participated in the Rashida Tlaib slander campaign started by Jake Tapper when they turned around and said Dana Nessel, Rashida Tlaib's criticisms of Dana Nessel, demanding accountability from the Michigan Attorney General for a deep blue democratic state with the largest Muslim population, the Attorney General prosecuting, going forward with the prosecution of campus protesters that were pro-Palestinian was a unique first step. That calls into question why the Attorney General's office in this regard was handling this situation differently than Black Lives Matter protesters, for example. That double standard, which is glaringly obvious, was immediately and roundly condemned and criticized by Dana Bash and Jake Tapper as anti-Semitic. What do you mean unique first step? It is unique for a democratic deep blue state like Michigan to go after protesters like this, okay? Protesters that are not harming anybody, okay? Claiming that they're being like anti-Semitic or engaging in obstruction of justice or whatever the fuck they slapped them with. They were demonstrating. Most attorney generals, even in red states, even in fucking Texas, dropped these cases. Why the fuck did Michigan not do that? Michigan voted Trump, not deep blue. First of all, Michigan, until this last election, has been deep blue, and it still is deep blue in its state governance. What are you talking about? At the time when Rashida Tlaib was calling into question what the fuck was going on there, it was deep blue. MB's Hassan, I think you'd be more effective if you did more fact-finding on stream as opposed to debunking. Just my thoughts on someone who respects your work. What do you mean? I do both of those things.
With the state of Israel, when they come to my house and go to other places.
Except that the Likud government says from the river to the sea.
What?
Yeah, they do. It's in their fucking charter. And they're the ones who are doing genocide right now. But you have no issues with that, Dana. Or at least you aesthetically claim to be against it. Anyway.
In the future, the state of Israel have to control on the entire area from the river to the sea.
What? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Gabor Mate in a second, but so we arrived at this, by the way, because we were just talking about Dana Fash. We were just talking about Dana Fash and how she had personally claimed that she didn't know where the neo-Nazis were coming from. And one of the things that is unique about, or not so unique, but like this is a consistent thing that she has done, right? Nazis protesting outside his house. She's Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report is here talking about the other person that is standing across from Dana Fash, this Ohio congressperson, this Democrat from Ohio. By the way, Dana Bash was literally there to promote her book. I think that the Jewish ladies who are there to dialogue are more rightfully in a place of worship than some dumbass promoting her book. Yeah, that too. The people protesting outside of his house that she compared to literal Nazis were his constituents begging their congressman to condemn the genocide. His background is in education, so they tried to raise awareness of the schools being bombed to get him to care. He ignored them and just complained about their protests and implied they were all anti-Semitic. What are people supposed to do when you don't listen to the reasonable demands that they are making? What are they supposed to do? This is an act of desperation. Protesters gather outside Representative Landman's home 1 year after the October 7th terror attacks. It's so dumb. Like this is people who are still holding on to the idea that these politicians are kind humans in their hearts, okay? These are people who are doing this final act of desperation. Do you understand? This is a final act of desperation from people who say, listen, please do the right thing. You're not going to do it. It seems like you haven't done it, but maybe if you understand, maybe if we can tug at your heartstrings as you are an educator, maybe we can get you to comprehend that like other educators overseas are being blown up with our weapons, with our bombs. I'm Jewish and the safety I felt at pro-Palestine protests this past years have been insurmountable. These are peace-loving individuals who want to see an end to the genocide period. Exactly. I just got a response from him on Israel's attack on Lebanon, and he fucking said, Iran has been attacking Israel for a long time. He also voted yay for 94-95. It's so incredibly frustrating that these people operate like this. This is not a decent shield, okay? It is not a shield that works any longer. It actually serves a very anti-Semitic purpose. When you tie Judaism falsely to an apartheid regime doing a genocide, you think in the interim period it might be an adequate defense. You might be able to even silence some critics. Okay? But all you are doing is falsely smearing the Jewish population with the crimes of a nation state that does not have the Jewish population's best interest in mind. I will never stand down from this unimaginably dangerous mischaracterization, okay? I will always protest against it. I will always speak the truth. If you demand that I lie to you, I'm not going to do that. It's so fucking annoying.
I'll go back to your lecture, and you talked about compassion of recognition, compassion of understanding, compassion of truth. We are approaching October 7th.
Yeah.
When the horrible massacre happened in Israel.
Yeah.
Where young children were murdered, burned, babies in ovens.
That didn't happen. There were no babies in ovens.
Yeah. There were babies in ovens in Deir Yassin during the Nakba, where Haganah, Lihi, and Irgun, these different terror cells, some of which that openly called themselves terror cells, by the way, went into Palestinian villages, and they did actually, in at least one of them in Deir Yassin, threw a child into an oven and made his father watch, and then threw his father into that oven afterwards as well. So it's not a thing that has never happened. It certainly has happened. It just did not happen on October 7. The people that did that then led, that went on to create the Israeli nation state, by the way.
Oh, yes, they were.
No, they weren't. That's been refuted even by the Israelis. Let's agree on what we do agree on, okay? A horrible massacre happened. People were killed in their homes. Civilians
were killed, were raped.
There's been no evidence of mass deliberate rapes. I'll let you finish your question.
How do I find compassion for these people?
Which people?
The animals that did that.
The animals that did that. How do we have compassion for these animals? I've been to Palestine. 2.5 years ago, I went there to work with Palestinian women who've been tortured in Israeli jails, which has been documented by Israeli Physicians for Human Rights, by B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, by United Nations and others. Nobody ever talks about the thousands of Palestinians. Did you know that 2 Palestinian doctors were tortured to death recently by Israel? Doctors tortured to death. History did not begin on October the 7th. In Canada, 4 years ago, there was a poll. Now, thousands of children died in those schools. People were tortured, raped, all kinds of stuff. 70% of Canadians knew nothing or little about the residential schools. To what happened to indigenous people. If you do a poll in the United States, until very few years ago and even now, most people will know nothing about what happened to the indigenous people here. Nothing. The genocide, the torture, the rape, the starvation. They know nothing about it. And in some states in the United States, it's illegal to even to teach it in the schools. Do you think the average Jew knows anything about the indigenous people of Palestine? These animals that you talk about, the first massacre of Palestinians in Gaza didn't happen last year. Didn't even happen 4 or 5 years ago when they killed hundreds of children with their bombs. It happened in 1956. In 1956, they massacred 200 civilians. Do you know about it? You've never heard of it. Of course you haven't heard of it. That's why you can call them animals. Otherwise, you'd see them like human beings like the rest of us. That place where we call other people animals, if you want to live there, that's your choice. I don't want to live there. I want to understand people. I want to understand what happened to them. I want to know why they behave the way they behave. I'm not into justifying taking civilian hostages. I said that was unjustifiable. Why you didn't hear me, I don't know. I said there were massacres that shouldn't have happened. Why you didn't hear me, I don't know. You know why you didn't hear me? Because you live in a bubble, that's why.
What? Uses tactics against them, call him a Nakba denier? Lol. What are you talking about? Gabor Mate is the GOAT. That is a man who survived the Holocaust, okay, as a baby. Fantastic individual.